wasn't ready yet.
What you talking about? What you talking about? Huh? Who? Gwen. Oh, okay. Okay. All right. Oh, people might come on. Oh, you can go back on and off. All right. Come on. Black people, what's going on, black people? How y'all doing, black people? Well, you know, hey, be here for F.O.G politics. One thing that we've been doing for about the last hour is politicking. Word is politicking. Because, you know, a lot of times we need that. I've seen each other and y'all smiling and Brett's like, oh, I see. That's what we want right here. That's what we want at the dojo. That's what we need. Really, you know, we just try to make sure that we try to turn New Haven back into the conscious hub of Connecticut again. You know what I mean? And have a central location for black people to be able to come through and, you know what I'm saying, put together their minds and do some things in the community. You know what I mean? So that's what we're here for. And I got my man F.O.G right here from the House of Conscience. But, you know, the brother F.O.G, he here now, and what the brother F.O.G is going to be doing is every 2 weeks, he's going to be our featured host of Poetry and Politics, you know, so we're going to make sure that we got everything going on right. This is our first one. So we're going to hold it down, though. We're going to hold it down for New Haven, and we're going to be the place. And you know, y'all don't already been here. We went from Spark Night to Poetry and Politics. So we're going to get it back rocking. So it's the same thing, though. It's the same flavor, the same feel. And, you know, I'm going to let brother F.O.G come up real quick, drop a couple jewels. Then I'm going to drop the announcement. Then we might have a couple poets going on. You know, we're going to see what's going on. We're going to get our vibe right, though, and make sure we come up and hit our drum. All right.
Yes, Black Power. I can't play the drums. I ain't good at that. But I will say, it's an honor and a privilege to be here before the family out here in New Haven, Connecticut. You know what I mean? To be here participating in this event in an institution that's governed by young black, you know what I'm saying, people that are driven, that are not just driven, that are conscious, that are culturally centered. You know what I mean? And that is an institution in the community. To align myself with that, representing the House of Consciousness, is an honor and privilege. So I just want to give my New Haven opening up the platform to your brother F.O.G, and specifically my brother Born, who me and Born been kicking it, well, knowing each other off and on, crossing paths since what, 6, 7 years. Back in the day, he was coming to New York to the events.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right?
No
Right?
doubt.
So like, it's like the dots are connected. Everything that happens is meant to happen, and some things that are not meant to happen are not meant to happen. Or maybe not at the time. You know what I mean? So we're here tonight, poetry and politics. Now, I'm not a politician, and I'm not a poet, but I can poetically articulate my political views. That's right. That's what I intend to do. Put a few things in perspective. You know what I mean? Because first, the reason why I do this is because it's a love. It's a natural zeal that's in me that I have for the people, and in particular the babies. You know what I'm saying? The whole purpose and functionality of knowledge, right? It's for, of course, information, education, which leads to advancement, which leads to what? Self-preservation. Self-preservation is the first law of nature. So at the root of any knowledge or ideology or information that you have, right? At the root of that is there's supposed to be something geared towards empowerment long-term. There's supposed to be some culture attached to that. And when I say culture, that is inclusive of economics, trade, commerce, political dynamics. All these things are relevant. And we already know this. I'm not coming here dropping no rocket science, but everybody, I just want you to establish that is at the root of what I stand for. Okay? And ideology means nothing to me. That's nationalism first. Right? So it's black power, it's race first, then it's religion. People say race first, religion second. Come on, put that energy behind it. Race first, Religion second. Or
Religion
second. Not even really second. I would just say after. Really don't need it. But you know, there's a process of development to everything. Some people have to be weaned off of indoctrination.
Right.
You know, everybody operates and evolves at different levels and on different frequencies. And that's just the nature of nature and the reality of things. So us having knowledge, okay, are supposed to be conduits to the people, but there's growth and development that we have to undergo, maturity levels that we undergo, so we're better equipped to be able to deal with the people. Everybody don't process the knowledge, and everybody's not going to be just on the same level at the same time. Some people aren't going to be as militant as us. Some people aren't going to be black power all in public, and they shouldn't be. We have to understand how nation and how organizations work. Some people need to be on the road. Some people need to be on the ground. You need your rhetoric mechanism. You need your information mechanism. You need your counterintelligence mechanisms. But they got a counterintelligence against us. We know that. But what about a counterintelligence? Are we capable of doing that? Do we know how to play chess with the opposition? Are we even concerned with or care about that? Or the dangers of not having a plan. When I say a plan, we have many plans, but I mean something that's conducive, that regardless of land, label, political affiliation, or religious affiliation, or what have you, is something that we vote on as a people, that we practice group economics with as a people. You know what I mean? And we do think that it's geared towards the preservation of self as a people, socially, economically, politically speaking. This is real. Because everything in the oppositions that against us that we're fighting is not because we're not conscious. Black people got all the goddamn knowledge. Nobody's deeper than black conscious people when it comes to this history. I know, I travel, I get around. I build with the best of them. I sat at the feet of Dr. Ben. You know what I'm saying? Our shade to the ancestors. You know what I mean? And I say that in all humility. And I've learned through trial and error and all that. But I'm going to tell you like this, there's nothing like, you know what I mean? It's different from just getting the information, but actually being proactive in it. You know what I'm saying? Like when you really see what the purpose and functionality of what we're dealing with is, the opposition is layered. It's multi-level. You know what I'm saying? The assault is on so many different levels, sociologically speaking, politically, academically, spiritually, culturally, economically. We're fucked up. Excuse my youthful listeners out there, or people who don't like that profanity, but goddamn it, sometimes there's a time for that. We're catching hell on so many different levels. A little curse here and there ain't gonna hurt us that bad. We from the streets, we see it all, right? You know what I mean? But what we gotta understand is the empathy, what's gonna take place long term if we're on the path that we're on now, where everybody's conscious. Nobody know more than the black conscious people in the community, but we're also the most divided people. And I know this, and I'm a part of platforms that interact and exchange with everybody. So I know from first hand, second hand, third hand, before I was a part of it, I've been in different schools of thought, before a Black Power platform on YouTube even existed. And we've always had that. I've seen that in other schools of thought. I was young, I was a Hebrew Israelite. I came up in the School of Islam before that, under Dr. York's School of Thought. I actually rocked with Dr. York and was a student at a certain point, at a short point in time, back in 1991. So I've seen a lot of things, and what I've seen was there was always device mechanisms amongst the people. I was like, damn, we have a great plan, great architect for at least a community blueprint for economics and somewhat of a culture. Whether you disagree with the doctrine or not, they got symbols, they got books, they got newspapers, they got literature, they got institutions. You know what I'm saying? That's how you build, that's how you start. They got, well, what is wrong? The niggerism. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going somewhere with the point. It was just always that divisiveness, like that we couldn't never build. And I said, damn, we don't understand that the opposition is so multi-layered. That the ultimate enemy is not, along with indoctrination too, sometimes cultural colonialism is a problem, but where it affects us on every level is that we have never been healed from the psychological effects of what colonialism did to us. We have never, when have we ever been healed? Look at that, after the Reconstruction era, the Emancipation Proclamation, we gotta understand what about the dynamics that went into instituting into the minds of humans to become and think like cargo and be slaves. That we have never transcended or healed from that. So no matter what kind of knowledge that we have, or what indoctrines that we're in, or what type of symbology that we track to, or that we wear with pride and all that, and you should, you know what I mean? The ultimate problem that we're dealing with the people is we don't have a sense of nationalism Because at the root of all of our ideologies, there's not a lot of real, genuine love. What I mean by love, I don't mean the emotional sense. I mean where regardless of land, label, or political affiliation, or religious affiliation, or indoctrination, you know what I'm saying, there's enough love, you know what I'm saying, to preserve self. You know what I'm saying? And we know why we're like this. There's so many after psychological enslavement, like we understand the sociological dynamics here. Homosexual agenda is real. Not to offend nobody, or nothing like that, but I understand for the agenda dynamic of what that is. You know what I'm saying? Like, look at our youth. Who are the leaders? We don't really have leaders like that no more. The leaders are what? Who is the biggest voice to the people? The rappers. You know what I'm saying? There was a time hip-hop had a message, and there's a reason why the record labels align themselves with the judges and politicians to change that whole message in hip-hop. That's something y'all can check out and go into. But there's a reason why they're giving the youth the dumbed down, drug addict, you know what I'm saying, unintelligent, the most unintelligent type people you've ever heard in any era of hip-hop to the youth now. And the youth are far, there's more young black drug addicts on lean and all that than ever. You know what I'm saying? Walking around with purses and wanting to be thugs now. You know what I mean? Because the leadership was killed off, and leadership doesn't always mean somebody you just follow. You know what I mean? Leadership means people who give knowledge, insight, and direction that people can learn from. You know what I'm saying? That's what leadership means. It doesn't mean cultish, and I don't mean it in any kind of way outside of just what it means by definition. You know what I'm saying? How it's applicable to people as a collective. You know what I mean? But our leadership that we be getting now is the youth. So that's why you see us being destroyed. So events like this, poetry and politics, and when we talk about politics, that's a multi-layered dynamic of a subject matter that we go into. That's why I am tapping into that in this segment of poetry and politics. You see what I'm saying? But events like this and others are important because what I just gave an example of to us that we already know about is the soul. You know what I'm saying? The psychoacademic, even shout out to Dr. Umar Johnson. You know what I'm saying? That's real talk. The psychoacademic assault on black people. You know what I'm saying? The pipeline from school to prison. This is real. And then the dumbing down, all right? And the medication of the youth, kids are being put on meds and drugs. Like, and then the homosexual assault on us and the psychological dynamics. Things like this with poetry and politics, we're supposed to use our poetry to inspire, to give message, to teach, right? To promote culture and to promote and bring civilization back into our music, right? That's the whole purpose of these kind of events. That's why we gotta have these things, and we gotta be proud that we have these things here. We gotta make it bigger. There's not a lot of people here now, but it's all right. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not about the amount of people. You know what I'm saying? It's about the quality, not the quantity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I love the energy, and I say energy. The inner goddesses, the inner gods, the energy within us all. You know what I'm saying? We can manifest great things. And like I said, it's poetry and politics. The political dynamic is something that I study in detail a lot, and it goes into layers. But we also want to open it up for some of the poets. Some of the people, poetry comes in many forms. If you're spitting bars, you know what I'm saying? We want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? If you got some poetry, some spoken words, you know what I'm saying? Drop it for the people. You know what I'm saying? And hey, if you just got something you want to say to the people, the floor is open for you, for the ladies and the other people who may not be used to being, it might be your first time here. There is a restroom right for the gentlemen and ladies out here, right? Yes, to the left, okay? And we have some refreshments in the back. We have some things out here for the vendors at the tables. Support black business, we're here. Please check it out, exchange numbers. And you know, let's get in tune and in touch with each other, and let's get it. Yeah.
Black Power family, you know,